welcome to the Horseboarding UK podcast. This is Beer Tent Breakdowns, a podcast all about the sport of horseboarding. If you haven't heard of horseboarding before, it's quite simple. You take a horse rider, put a rope around the saddle, and at the end of that rope is a guy or girl on an off-road skateboard, and they go as fast as they can around a twisting, turning course on grass or sand for the fastest time and to take home all the prizes. So, I am joined here by Joe Hollis,
Hi.
who is one of our main ground crew, camera people, all-out horseboarding fan. And the next camera, watch this edit, is Joe Betts. I got it right, that's amazing. Joe has had a team, but you've come along to volunteer and help out and just be involved in the sport, which is great, and we'll get to know you a bit more. And then the brainchild of the sport.
I'm not the brainchild of the sport. The sport is my brainchild. That's the way it works.
They said it on the news.
They said it was my brainchild, not I was the brainchild of the sport.
Isn't it the same thing?
No, it's not. It means the brainchild means that I came up with the idea, and that therefore it's a child from my brain, I am not a child from the brain of horseboarding. Although maybe I am if the universe is, if we want to get deep and spiritual.
I think that's asking for trouble.
Okay, so me, good grammar talk, dude. Yeah, right. So
anyway,
we haven't got our usual lineup. We haven't got Aidan or anyone like that. We haven't got ex-competitors in this podcast, apart from Joe. You have sort of.
As you can see, we've had. Well, it's obviously this doesn't happen in a vacuum, does it? And the day has been quite hectic. The build up to this event has been quite hectic, and today it's been a long drawn out day today. So we've done zero thought to what we're going to talk about, other than saying, let's bring Team Joe in, because Joe and Joe are Team Joe. And they work together now on the cameras, on the other side of these cameras most of the time, filming what you see in the arena. So if you ever wonder, well, who's holding the camera, which you probably don't, but if you did, it's Team Joe and other associates. But so, two very different stories how you got involved. Joe, let's start with you. Because yours is a history of you've known about horseboarding for a long time. Tell me about your history.
So I first found horseboarding the first ever year it went to Tame. I'm literally that person that saw it in the programme, thought, okay, I'll go and watch it, see what it's about. Literally was hooked from that point forward. Found out then I could then watch it on the live stream, which was done by either one of yourselves. I think Tom got to know me most of all on the live streams.
Lots of comments.
Yeah, we knew
I was
you.
very active. Very active on the live stream because I couldn't get to all of the events, so I did the next best thing and I watched it on the live stream. And then there was an incident in Cheshire, I think it was, when Amy Richards came off of Indy.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom was starting to falter about things to say, because on the live stream when something happened you pulled away from what was going on. Me being me, I'll just throw a question out there, and I basically said I have very little experience actually with horses, but as you know I love the sport, I'm always watching. Is there anything that I would be able to do to come and help volunteer?
You can pick up balls.
Cue a 10-minute conversation with Tom.
Over the live stream.
But admittedly at
We'll
the
have to
time...
edit to that now.
Yeah, try and find it.
Yeah, try and find that.
2017. It was...
Date.
So it was 2013. Yeah, but it was 2013 the first time you saw it at Tame, when it was freezing cold. When there was three of us.
Christ, that's the Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very early days of like...
Ross with a stuffed dog's toy on his helmet.
Well, yeah, he had a
And a cape.
Pigeon.
Yes.
Pigeon decoy on his head and a cape. Which he took the wings off. We probably talked about this in another podcast, but he took the wings off because initially it has the wings that spin, and but when he tried to go, the wind was like in his head.
No, I do wonder why it's stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
So I saw it all the way back in 2013.
But then then up to 2017, you literally just followed it and watched, visited shows.
Visited Tame literally every year. I've got memories of literally horseboarding being in the arena at Tame being Tame, it absolutely naturally down with rain, and me being the one idiot at the side of the arena.
That was you!
So yeah, in 2017 when this happened, I literally just asked the question just to maybe give Tom something to talk about, never actually having like a thought of actually doing it, but it planted a seed.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
So I signed up and started volunteering in 2018, and
so I remember the following year, because obviously you'd become not synonymous, but like we were quite aware that you know we'd see your comments and stuff.
Yeah.
So we were aware of you, and then I remember making the post and saying volunteer registration forms now open, and you put a wee. And I was just like, oh, that'd be interesting. And then since then, you have pretty much been to since 2018, you've been to every event that's been on.
Pretty much every event. I think the only one I've actually missed is the JCB event.
Oh, right, yeah, but that was limited anyway.
It was limited anyway, but I was already booked to go to the air show. And of course that got delayed because of COVID, so as much as I love horseboarding, I've waited for the air show for 2 years, so and as you say, it was limited anyway, so
and it's a big other passion, your second passion, I don't know if it's your second passion, but the other passion that I know of yours is jets, planes, World War II, that sort of thing. I pretty much go to RIAT every year. I go to other air shows as well. Yeah, it was actually my first time at Duxford this year. Oh, was it?
Yeah, I've not been to a Duxford air show before, so it was my first time there this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is something. It's off horseboarding, but we are getting to know people, and you know, the thing is, it's a big part. There's a big part of the horseboarding culture which seems to be ex-servicemen or current servicemen. You know, Tom being
Air Force Army.
Submarine.
Something. He's got a badge.
Yeah. No, I was trying to think. Reservist. Tom being a reservist. You got Dale, obviously, is previously in the Air Force Army, the US Air Force, and you've got Oren now, who's previously in the Navy.
He's still Navy, but he's just attached to the RAF.
Yeah. So that's quite a lot of people, really, if you think about it. So we're only a small group, and you've got people from almost every service. So, but those of us that aren't in the service, we also recognise the historical importance and all those sorts of things. So we have an acknowledgement of that, and sometimes we're lucky enough to be at events where you have the Spitfires going over and stuff, which is always great. But Duxford. I've been to Duxford a couple of times, and
you went with Bruco.
Yeah, well, when they were at Bruco, I've been there a couple of times doing events, but I've been there a couple of times actually as a tourist as well, and actually had a proper day out and really enjoyed it.
You mean you go to shows as a
I only did it.
Yeah.
I only did it twice, but it was pretty spectacular. Duxford is like if you go, and I will come off this subject, I promise, but. If you go to Duxford just to look at the World War II stuff and peg it around, you might get round in a day.
I've now been 3 times. Admittedly, one of those was for one of the air shows. So I've been there twice just to visit. I've still not seen everything.
No, and I'm not talking about. I'm just talking the World War II stuff. Because there's all the other stuff that you can spend time looking at. But literally. I did it in a day, but I got to the newest museum at the very end. I think it's the American Museum. It's almost got the tanks and stuff.
Oh, the land warfare.
That's it. I got to that one, and by that point I was exhausted. I was absolutely getting round, and I was ready to go home. I'd definitely seen my fill, but I loved the day, and we're great. So, anyways, back to horseboarding.
That's what another thing that I do for fun.
Yeah, and it's something as well that I've said that I'd like to see. One of the things that I'd like to see going forward with horseboarding is a separate social group, where we do things where people that are interested in, so like Duxford and like things like that, where people are like, hey, I'm going to go, because often we're all interested in it, but we don't really have time to organise it or do whatever. So like for yourself, saying, hey, I'm going to go to Duxford, or I'm going to go to Arrow, I'm going whatever it is, I don't even know what event it is, I've not been there, but I'm going to go to this event. Is anybody interested? Like when they used to go to Holcombe Bay for the 2 weeks or the week holiday, and it's basically a couple of teams would go, and then before you know it, within a couple of years, there was everybody was going.
I never got an invite.
The invite was always out.
Yeah, but there's those sorts of things I'd like to see. I remember years ago, we went to see. It was actually when we were still doing the stunt shows, but we all sort of did an end of season randomly to go and see Metallica play at Wembley.
I didn't get an invite.
I did. It was amazing.
That one I can't comment on.
No, it was a long time ago, but anyway.
At REACT this year, Royal International Air Tattoo, Kat Vincent, who's another member of the ground crew, and Elodie Woods, who
used to board
and do all sorts of things. They're actually coming with me this year. So,
I might see you on a Friday, I'm there.
Well, we're not coming out of the campground on the Friday.
No, I might see you through the fence.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. We all have interests that correlate, and may as well do it with people that we already know we don't like. So
So what about you, Joe?
So I came into it probably more conventionally. We saw it. I can't remember if it was Bowood or Tame. We were there visiting.
If it was Tame, it was when it was raining.
Yeah, Pip, who's my wife, was like, we could probably do that, and then spoke. She works with Anita, who you probably had on a podcast before, I think.
Briefly, she was on.
Briefly, she was in something. But
Burley, but she's a big character in it. She's been involved with the sport for a long time.
So I think mentioned it, and then pushed us towards going to a training weekend, which we did.
Yeah.
Obviously, the horse liked it. We met the people that were doing it, and that's, as you say, it's a big community feel. Aside from the sort of horseboarding side, is the social side of it, which we sort of fell in love with, really liked as a thing. So then the year after that, came and competed.
Place your bets?
Yeah, place your bets. And then at the end of that year, the horse he's at 24 now, he's just getting a bit arthritis and stuff, so we've had to pull him out of doing it. But because we like doing it so much, we still come to most of the ones this year. And I just say now.
Which ones are you going to miss this year? Because you're becoming more and more crucial keeper.
Yeah, I think the only one I'm not going to be at is Cheshire.
That's not true.
I think the only one I'm not at.
I think you're going to be there wrapped up in duct tape.
Yeah, there's developing plans in other things that we know might not be at Cheshire, but yes. Apart from that, everyone this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's been. You've come in and it's good that Pip works with Neats.
Yeah.
You both work with Neats, don't you?
No, just Pip at the moment.
Right.
Away at the uni. I used to work at the cafe where they work, big country store, but yeah, at the moment, no, just Pip. But
because I noticed the first time we were at East Anglia and Pip went into the pits with Anita.
Yes.
I think was Anita there?
Oh,
no, Anita didn't do it. No, with Ian.
Yeah.
And then because the commentary box was right next to the pits, and I happened to notice that she was taking names and kicking ass and making sure stuff was running. And everybody in the commentary box, me, Marie, everyone was like, oh, she's got this under control.
So that's the work coupled with that she is very horsey and always has been. I think it's getting an appreciation of what needs to happen from the horse management side, especially in the pits, is important. But no, as you say, she really enjoys coming as well. And
so we were, and me and Marie had several conversations about it. We spoke to Anita about it, and we're like, Pip's done really well, because it takes somebody, she was directing traffic, she was doing the job, and actually I sent Anita a message this week saying, could you, because Anita can't make all the shows.
No.
If you guys Anita's going to work with Ian and with Pip
to figure out.
Yeah, so that they can work, because I think she did a great job.
Yeah.
You know, she did a great job. And then of course yourself. Have you done any filming before this? Or?
So not video. I did some photography while I was at uni.
Oh, okay.
Taking photographs of ski trips and things.
Yeah.
I got a free ski trip out of it, so it was useful for me.
I'm a photographer.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. Me and
He's thinking I could go skiing again. He's on top of that roof now.
Me and a group of friends who were much more keen about photography than me sort of managed to get in with that and go and do that for 3 or 4 years running.
Wow.
But filming wise, I've never done anything live, and it is a bit different. But I enjoy doing it.
How do you feel about being a lightning rod on top of
How was that? A developing situation at the time, I think. It was, watching it come. I could see
so
it
just got to give
coming
this. Sorry, let's just give this a little bit of context. Tom's jumped straight to the punchline as usual. To give a bit of context, we were at Burley at the last event, doing the second heat, which we have talked about a little bit in the other interviews you would have seen, and the dark clouds are coming out. Thunder had been predicted, but it hadn't come until quite late on in the day, and the light dark clouds were coming across the showground. Strikes of lightning were coming across the showground.
I couldn't see the cloud; it was behind me.
Yeah,
and we started seeing flashes in the distance as we started approaching. At which point did you get nervous?
What? The weird thing is, for a lot of it, I was just worried about the camera getting wet because I could see the clouds coming and going. I didn't bring an umbrella with me, and then
because that's what I need in a lightning storm.
Yeah, and then I saw some lightning, not quite over the arena, but just in the distance.
Yeah,
and then the heavens really opened and it started raining, and then there was literally right on top of where we were.
Yeah.
And at that point I thought, I probably don't want to be...
It was the whole arena that flished up, and then Anne-Marie was like, because Anne-Marie was like, we've got to stop it. I'm like, no, it's fine. She's like, we've got a camera on the roof, and I'm like, okay, let's bring the camera down.
As I heard you say, Joe, if you can hear me, get down off the roof. I was already climbing down the ladder.
We'd already radioed you, and maybe a race or two before, just saying, hey, if this gets any worse, you're going to have to come down.
Developed quite quickly into...
Get down.
Storm.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because that event, because it had been so warm in the morning, and so sunny before we went into that heat. No one had any jackets.
I think I was shorts and a polo shirt or something. Not at all dressed for torrential down.
So I've been doing the edits, and I can literally start from the start of heat 2, and it's nice and sunshine. And
it's raining now.
Yeah, it sounds like rain.
You can literally see the weather changing as that heat goes on. And as I said, I actually had no idea about this big blackout because it was behind me. So when I was actually watching the videos to do the edits, I was like, you kept us going?
Yeah.
What?
If it hadn't come right over the top.
I was going to say, is that the first one you've had to call off due to weather during
an event? Yeah, we've never. But lightning is the red line.
No.
You know, it's like okay, fair enough. It was always the thing that I always said I would refuse to joust in.
Yes.
It's like I always said to everybody, look, if it starts lightning, I'm leaving the arena. I don't care where the show is. I'm not wearing chainmail and carrying a 12-foot lance riding a horse around in an open field. It just seems like
a recipe
we're tempting fate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think fate would be more than tempted there.
Yeah. So how do you think? I mean, obviously, Joe, you've seen a lot of development in the sport.
Me, Joe.
You've been here longer.
In your time, can you just talk about that, describe that, or what's been your experience of it?
I think a lot of it has come from obviously the teams and the team development, because I've seen teams start off when we had the countryside arena, and we literally had the novice horses in there, first ever competitions and everything, and now they come in and they do the advanced course and everything, but the standard of the teams coming in has has really gone up. You've got teams that are really going for it. Last competition, Combe but Not Forgotten. Okay, they didn't have the greatest of starts to the events, but you could see them developing over that time. So that's all developed, obviously.
It's really raining.
I left my tent open.
You cursed it.
Yeah, I know, that's
it. And everything, and yeah, so that's all developed, and obviously points of safety have
Tom,
come
what are you
in.
doing?
My tent is open, so I'm going to call Orin to close it.
Share a radio and call.
My tent's in the rain. I'm back. Oh, we can. It has stopped raining.
Oh, that's
now.
right, yeah, because mine's still open.
Where was Orin? Why didn't he answer your call?
He was ringing me back.
Is this not
as
like,
I was
is this
running
not
over?
like Batman not answering the call to Robin?
I know, right?
Or Robin not answering the call to Batman?
Yeah,
I don't know which
right.
one of you's which.
I don't know.
So we were talking.
and
Joe
then
was telling us about
Nico's
how great the
background.
sport was. Tom, I think it's your turn to ask questions. Churn.
To churn questions out. Whew.
Good for a run.
I know, yeah. So, okie dokie. I don't even know what we're talking about, really.
Do you want me to say something?
Yeah, go for it.
So we were talking about the development of the sport
Yeah.
and everything, and how it's improved over the last few years. And I think a big part of that has been the videos that have been going out. So I've been working on the videos basically since the unmentionable event.
Which was the unmentionable then?
The one that happened in 2020 that we're not mentioning anymore.
Oh, okay. The reason that we all got rogered.
I wasn't here then. Tom's like,
Stop.
Tom's like,
I don't remember that.
I tried. So basically since then
what happened in 2020, Tom?
We're not going there.
Tom
Yeah.
genuinely doesn't know.
We went to Denmark. We had a great time.
And almost
My
got
sunglasses
stuck in
are
Oh, the event that locked down the country
That
and
one.
globe
The one that we're not
rise.
mentioning
always
anymore.
saying about
the,
that.
the event that shall not be named.
The
Yeah.
unmentionable event. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
So,
right.
so
I
basically,
thought it was horseboarding related, sorry.
Yeah, events. I
I'm
was
trying
like,
to get there.
what? I was like, we had a great 2020 until like lockdown.
So anyway, sorry, go on.
Basically, since then, since we came back, I've been on the camera.
Yeah.
Because basically I can't run around anymore because I injured my knee. So you came up with the idea of putting me on the camera, and the reasoning that you used for that was I've watched it for a number of years. So I know the courses, I know sort of the pressure points and everything. So you were basically, let's put you on the camera. And you said to me on the first event, don't worry about zooming in or anything, just follow the horses. Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
No, yeah, I mean, there was that, and then we got because it's difficult. You've got to do it first, and then if you try and tell all the things to do initially. But I didn't know as well that you were doing photography. You were doing photography before that.
Yeah, just still photography
Yeah.
and still am. But again, like Joe, it's
Yeah.
always been still photography, never really filming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of know how to get things framed and everything. Keeping up with some of the teams though is a bit of fun.
Well, that's interesting because that was one of the first things that when Moorview Productions, Joram and Trinica came over from Germany to film us in 2019.
I remember that.
And
They filmed me falling over.
They filmed the we went to the first one they did was East Anglia, and they'd filmed Horseboarding Holland a few times, and that's how we got contact with them. And all that sort of thing. And then they came, and Trinica was like, I can't keep up with the teams.
No.
Like they're just so fast. And she had a big camera rig,
Yeah.
and it was just like whoa, like
Yeah.
whoa.
In fairness, it's like that with
Yeah.
the ones that we use, and they're not big cameras, but even so, trying to keep up with some of the teams TNT.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Not when they're on Kia.
But there's a lot of calculation going on, really, isn't it? When you're tracking a team,
Yeah.
either from on top or what's it? Now, I've not actually seen that much of your camera, Joe. because we always go to.
It's quicker to edit
the top camera
view,
because it's got the view. But we are working on it, and I think in terms of this is a really important part of the sport. We've developed a really good show. A really good system to run the show in terms of the timings, and I remember years and years and years ago, Gordon, the commentator at Living Heritage, we were in the commentary box and he said to me, you're going to outgrow Living Heritage. And I said, we're always going to want to be at Living Heritage because this is our nursery. This is where we train, this is where we work our stuff out before we go on to the big, and to go on to the big shows. So this is our rehearsal space almost.
Like comedians and other acts that go to places and do stuff. Not that Living Heritage is like that. They are the lifeblood of horseboarding.
Yeah, and they're big shows. They're big shows in great venues. Burley, Sandringham, Bowood, Cheshire. But we've been to some really good stately homes and venues. So it's not big. It's they're good shows. But it's been we've done nearly. In 11 years, we must be pushing the 100 weekends mark.
I've not even thought about that.
We've done nearly 100 weekends. We've probably done, we've done about maybe 600 heats. You think about the novice intermediates as well when we were doing them, probably even more.
We've definitely done 100 days.
We've smashed 100 days. Yeah. Smashed 100 days easy. It's 100. It's around 100 weekends. We've done with them.
Did because originally it was 10 events, wasn't it?
10. We've done 10 and 12 weekends a year.
Bagsy not working it out.
No, I mean it's but there's been a lot of spread, but we're in that region. Yeah. That's the kind of region, and in that time we've obviously developed a great relationship with everybody on the showground. Pretty much, I don't think pretty much.
I do remember the early days when we had the countryside arena. We get complaints of the commentary team because traders would go and cut the wires to the to the speakers because we were so loud.
Yeah.
And then eventually, what the traders started to figure out is, there's loads of people coming.
Yeah.
And if we just let them do their show, they turn around and go, oh look, there's a stand behind me.
Yeah. And you do get, if you really pay attention to the audience, you do get people who will there's people that will stand and watch the whole show, and then there's people, and if it's really busy, you can be 3, 4, 5 deep all the way around the ring, but you've got to have the sun's got to be right, the weather's got to be right, the time of the arena's got to be right, all those sorts of things.
The moon's orbit's got to be right.
Yeah, exactly, and the racing has to be right, because at the end of the day, we set the stage for excitement to happen. But that doesn't mean that excitement's going to happen. You can. I mean, there's only ever one show. There's been a couple of shows in the last 400 to 600 plus shows of all the categories. Because even the novices, you get some good races going on in the novices.
One of the best heats, hands down, and I still think it's up there. Definitely in the top 5. Was Sandringham. It was novice intermediate in that small ring, and they were just pushing, like tiny ring, they were just pushing each other, and it was like one team would go in front, the next team would match their time, and it's like they're 0.1 of a second ahead, this team's 0.1 of a second ahead, they're deadlocked. It
was an intense, all the teams were just on the same sort of cusp, weren't they? And it was it was a very exciting heat, that one.
We had
one of the best ones.
Quite similar Burley last event between Happy Little Accidents and Put a Fast One.
Yeah, but the thing was that this one, what we're talking about, there's like 5 teams.
Yeah.
It's a bit like in 2019 at the one that's filmed. It is on the YouTube channel. It's
East Anglia Cup
2019. There's 4 episodes, which is, if it's not on the YouTube, I think one of them's on the YouTube. There's the 4 are on the website horseboardinguk.org, and you can watch it. And you've got like 5 or 7 teams within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just and everyone is jumping. I remember Sandy from Just Wing It doing an unbelievable run and then being 2.5 seconds behind first and in 5th place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what? It's some crazy races, and we love it when it's like that. But I do remember as well, there was, you know, I've
It's not
seen.
easy on the camera.
No, I can imagine not. I've had not to film it yet, but.
But when you get like, there's only been the odd heat where, I mean, I think it's changed since we brought in the bonus point rules, because initially you used to get this build until the last rotation, and sometimes the teams they'd hang back so much that those first 2 rotations had just been nothing runs. They'd just been and then it wouldn't kick off until the last half, because all of a sudden, because what they were doing in that, they were playing a mind game of, we're not going to run fast, we're not going to run fast, so that nobody run fast. But they were doing it so that nobody would run fast. And then, right now we're going to do it. Do you know what I mean? And trying to convince each other that they weren't.
Tara and Indy are the queen horses of just being able to go out there and, like, literally.
Who was the one you said?
Tara,
yeah.
and
Indy.
They well, when Tara was behaving herself, of course, but they both such reactive ponies, and like they knew which round it was where they were going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we had some great teams as well during that time. So
yeah, we were talking about our dream team.
Oh, no.
Fantasy football,
fantasy horseboarding.
That could be quite fun.
Who we'd have racing right now? Like, can you? Like, it's a weird thing. Like, you guys have seen the progression. Joe more so. Like, you find this team like Blues and Twos are right now. Like, they are top of the game, epic, pretty much. I wouldn't say they're untouchable. I'm coming after them. But like they're top of their game, and then you previously had Dead Pigeon, top of their game, untouchable. You've had Chill Winston, top of the game, untouchable, and then when another team's emerged, when another team has emerged, that top team kind of disappeared.
And that's the shame, because if you had all those 5, or you know, all those big teams, and with Just Wing It as well, you know, and Just Wing It are on form, and you know, not only winning in Prague, but when the racing that they've done, you know, phenomenal. Sandy when he's on form, you're looking at, that's why you ended up in 5th place, 2.5 seconds behind the leader.
No, I've not seen it yet, but Senate siblings, as you say, are coming up through the advance at the moment. In the past year or so.
I think you're gonna get. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying it's interesting to see where the trend of progression, how it moves on going forwards. Because obviously they're quite an upward trend at the moment. I don't know how traditionally, whether you jump up and you stall, or whether you keep going.
You can look at Just Drag for that this year, because last year they were in advance.
And you're right.
They won the advance last year, and okay, currently this year they're sat at the bottom of the league.
You've got to learn again, essentially.
But and Rolo is still a young horse. He is still learning his game and everything. But again, heat to heat, show to show, you can see how much he's.
You add in like an extra half of the advanced course on. So not only is that you've now changed the game for the horse, because the horse is like, I've learned this game, I've got the game, let's play the game, and you've now gone change the game. So you've got to go through that method of going like there's this extra bit now, like that we've got to relearn, and then for the border. You've got to be like,
do half.
Christ, this is a long way round the rest of this course. Like,
speaking of which, did you guys see anybody rehearsing? I just watched a couple of teams go around.
I did, and it worried me.
No, I saw them going out, but
I just saw Sean from Just Drag going through the chicane, through the weave, and the weave must be on a digger track.
Really?
Because as he's going through the weave, it's going. I looked at it, I was like, oh my god! Like,
saw him go around one corner and
the
he's right
entire
down.
course is pretty much like that.
I mean, I don't know what you kind of.
Well, we can't see.
What's the venue we're at? What's it called?
We're in Warwick.
Vauxhall Park.
Warwickshire.
Yeah. What's the hotel?
Vauxhall Park.
Vauxhall Park Hotel or something. It's
We're in Vauxhall Park Estate.
Yeah, okay.
It is a hotel because I heard security talking about they can't close a certain tracks. It goes to the hotel.
Yeah, well, I drove this lorry into the hotel. Well, into the hotel.
Yeah.
If you've got a lorry-sized hole in the side of your hotel, I did not put it there. No, I drove it in the wrong gate and went into the car park side of the showground before finding my way around. Anyway, my point was grass tyres would have been really good on those tractors rather than using.
Well, you keep saying about Sean's tyres.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's talking about what's going on in the arena. Instead of using spike snow tyres,
digger. Just use a golf. Things you drive on a golf cart. I know we want a golf arena.
It's going to be it's rutty.
I think it's going to be really bad.
I walked it. And I still haven't fixed my axle, thank God, because it bent anyway. Going around this. But I walked it, and Net messaged me and said, "Do you want to practice?" I went, "It's really rutty." No. I was like, "I'm all right, thank you. I'll take my risk tomorrow." I don't particularly because the practice runs they're good, but it's steady, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. No, I get it. Go around with the horse because you need to, because it's rutty. You want to see how it feels. Other than that, I'll risk it for a bit.
It's probably one of the worst grounds we've seen in a little while.
Worse than Cheshire last year?
Cheshire last year. Well, the thing is, the grass is a bit long. The grass is not as thick as it was at Cheshire, but it's as bumpy and as rutty as Netley Marsh. If Netley Marsh was hard.
Yeah, and this is
which of course it isn't because it's called Netley Marsh.
Yeah, this is rock solid, so it's what you're going to see. You might get some good footage, guys.
There could be some pretty scorpion crashes.
What's going to happen is when you go round, you're going to try and not make any slides where you can avoid it. It may be toe side because at least there you've got your down, your low. But even when you're going the board's going to jitter. So even on a sideways, it's going to jitter, and you're going to risk a tyre digging. So you're going to want to.
How are you going to set your board up, Tom?
Change nothing and hope for the best.
Okay. How would you advise somebody to set the board up?
For this, I would say go a notch or two tighter than you used to, because it's going to loosen. Check your bolts after every run. Check your the pins that go into the springs.
What do you do with tyre pressure?
Tyre pressure high.
Yeah.
Very high.
Yeah, that's what I would think as well.
Get over that. Let the tyres do the job. You've got springs, yes, but let the tyres go over.
Now,
and I've seen an advert that shows you going over potholes, right?
Yeah.
So this comes into effect, right?
Okay. Where the camera's in the wheel.
Bear with me.
I've seen this.
But it's just watching the wheel go over.
Oh,
so
okay.
30 miles an hour, the whole tyre goes into the rut, right?
Yeah.
50 miles an hour, you get like a little bit. 80 miles an hour doesn't do anything. So the faster you go,
which is a policy, but all of those bumps. That's one bump in an otherwise flat road. You're talking about a load of bumps, and it's gonna this is gonna wear people's legs out.
Oh yeah, but Ryan's got the car for steel, so he should be all right. I'm just hoping for the best. It's those technical elements where you get
2 teams again this weekend.
2 teams,
Yeah, that's
what's your second team?
I've got top and tails, and then just wing it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So do you think, because of the ground...
You're 50% of the elite team.
I was going to say. Do you think it affects everybody equally? Or some people are better on the rougher stuff?
It's really difficult, because I've...
just... Can you grab the
Keep talking, Tom.
I was letting you guys have that little bit of a conversation.
Sorry, it was about
I know, you're getting some. I'll keep talking. So we don't have to cut to the camera where they're using their nondescript beer.
I've got an idea.
But you just keep talking over me.
Well, if you said something, it'd be really useful.
Yeah, but you can just keep talking over me. So if you're doing it in silence, that was the thing. You're supposed to do it in discreet.
Tell Joe he's an amateur.
Do you think it will affect each team individually?
Well, now the camera would have cut to you. We'd have seen the nondescript beer. What's going on?
Right.
Who's got the best chance over the weekend?
Ryan. But equally, so we've got Emma on this in the saddle. She's not competed in a little while. I've got a lot of confidence. Personally, I have a lot of confidence in Emma. I know Emma hasn't had the best of confidence in. I don't know why I just did that.
That was the weirdest thing. For people that weren't watching, Dan had a nondescript beer, poured it from his nondescript glass into his empty nondescript glass, and then sat down for some random reason.
Yeah.
But
so,
right, so
no,
most
not
bizarre
the rider. Emma's a great rider. Obviously, she comes from the back of racing, and she has also raced a lot. She's also raced with Ryan in the Black Dakotas, so they know each other quite well. And I would say Amy's horses are pretty universal in terms of push button. This is how you ride. So I think they'll do well.
She's ridden Indy for Amy before when Amy
And she rode her really well.
She used to ride Elite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ran
she
limited.
rode limited edition. Did really well on that. So I mean, she did. I think, to be honest,
you couldn't pick a better rider to stand in at a last minute.
no.
Really.
Although I know she hasn't had the confidence that she has had in the past. So I know that we haven't spoken in a little while, but the last time we spoke, before today, I know she was not feeling overly confident generally in riding, but this is a girl that, rode youngsters for race trainers and, did all that sort of thing.
It does open the door for Just Wing It a little bit. If everything keeps working the way that the team worked in the last event of just building and working that way. Although Amy did message me and say, "Don't let Just Wing It overtake Top and Tails." Now,
oh dear.
Now, on my when I'm on two teams, my thing is I want to go as fast as I can, and I want to complete a run.
Even if that gets you sacked.
Yeah. Which has happened before.
What's more important, beating the teams or keeping the teams?
No. Because for me as a boarder, as much as I've double teamed before. Like when I've been in the early days when I was riding behind Do or Die, which was my girlfriend's team at the time, and then I was behind another team. I can't remember, it was Charlie's sister, I can't remember what the team was called. Ree. But
Cauldron?
Yeah, it was Cauldron. Yeah. And my girlfriend at the time would be like, "Don't beat us." And I was like, "I'm just not going to let go and see what happens."
Yeah.
And then I'd keep beating my team, and I'm like,
I can imagine it would be awkward, yeah.
In fairness, I think a lot of it, the boarder doesn't have much control over that.
no,
Yeah, but
you want.
Yeah.
It's the horse going at the speed. The boarder's just
I think
holding
the
on
thing
to
is, the thing is, I think people get a little bit obsessed. I know it's happened more than one occasion where teams or couples that potentially race on different teams or teams that have a conflict of interest with other teams will get annoyed at each other. Because and it's not much. It's not like it never develops into much because the general gist in the camp is it's a game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like race, start line, finish line. Do what you can. If you were better, you'd have beaten them. What's the problem? So there's no other judgment outside of that. So and you do hear the odd comment of being like, oh, and it's like that shouldn't come into it. It's about sportsmanship.
I have been
a lot of
lobbied.
times, so that's been done in jest. Entirely.
Well,
unless your name is Tom.
I don't think his ex-girlfriend would say that.
Unless you're involved with Tom.
A team that will not be named, but the 2022 champions, did lobby me to let go at times.
I heard it on the camera.
Which I didn't do, although I got accused of doing in 2022.
Oh, yeah,
when it was 37 degrees and I couldn't hold on to the...
Yeah. And that's what I saw.
I just couldn't hold on to
Yeah, no, that's what I saw. I saw a day where it was crazily hot. You were running on two teams, doing crazy races on both teams, and it was towards the end of the heat, or end of the weekend or whatever, and you came off Winston twice.
It was unfortunate because I was going out with limited edition first.
Yeah.
So then that heat. I'm not good in heat anyway. but like that
It was crazy
they
hot.
just sacked me.
I know. There was questions raised, and I don't see that.
Haven't been along, but pretty safe to say, no boarder that I know would willingly let go
No.
deliberately during a run. Everyone is like,
Unless it's
going to
gonna
make
save
it
you from a
run.
crash.
Well, that's it. No, but they're not. Once you start the run, you're not necessarily thinking that
Don't want to do
tactically
too
about
well
it.
because
That's it exactly.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that says more. I think that says more about the intention of teams to win. Like if somebody like that team were particularly focused on winning for winning's sake, rather than competing and winning if winning.
Well, I wouldn't want to, you know,
Happens. You got to compete. You got to win. Everyone's got to compete and win. But for me, it's always been like there's a start line and a finish line. That's where the race takes place. There's no other race. And if anything, if there's any sort of mind games or fucking reviews, race reviews, Paul, what was it?
Video reviews.
Video reviews.
Yeah, that's like
video. What do we call it? I don't know. Video reviews or anything like that to try and get an advantage.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sportsmanship.
No.
I think that's.
But you see it in, especially the new teams that come in now, and the camaraderie that's being built around a lot of the teams is you're seeing, and I'm giving them a shout out again. They get a shout out every time, but. All the gear, no idea. You know, they're lending their horse out to teams because everyone wants to see everyone race. Everyone wants to win fairly. There's no point in winning by default or winning because someone's cheated or done something like that. You're out there to do your best, to go against someone and say, I legitimately beat you.
Because let's be honest as well, outside of the horseboarding group, us that are here as a part of the tour and going on, nobody cares.
no.
And if really, I mean, I know we have fans that do follow it to a point, but who really, what the fans are more interested in is people crashing.
Yeah.
Rather than actually who's exactly winning. I would say comment below if I'm wrong.
I think sometimes it's hard to keep up with.
I'm back in the camera.
It's hard to keep up with it sometimes because it's swapping and changing so much.
And it's trying to get that information out to the fans.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to develop with this film. Really excited for people to see the new Burley Heat that's coming out. That is the future. But my point is that if you've cheated in a group or manipulated it in a small group like this to win, then the people in the group know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's literally nobody cares.
No.
Because the people in the group are like, well, we know that you're lost about that.
This comes back. So
I'm not talking about any particular team. I'm talking about people outside of horseboarding, really. But within horseboarding, it's just not. It's not a policy that's.
This comes 2022, limited edition got the team championship. I think Lloyd got the rider or Amy did. I can't remember. But I definitely didn't get the border, and it was actually only by going back through, because obviously there is a manual part of checking the result system and making sure that it's just gone right and it's a safety check. And I'd gone all the way through because me and Ryan were deadlocked on points, and I'd gone all the way through, and it was Bowood. One bonus point hadn't registered into the system for Ryan, and I was like. Fuck. I've lost. Damn it. And if you really wanted to, it's very easy. But no, he won it. He got that bonus point fair and square, and he legitimately beat me. However, we didn't
by
lose
1 point.
By 1 point. But we'd have. But if we'd gone into Sandringham before Lizzie, the boss, died.
The Queen died. Yeah.
The boss.
Yeah.
Really unfortunate timing that was.
You were there already on site,
I was on
you?
site, I was like, oh my god, we've just come out of the pandemic, and we're back on that one.
No, we're not.
Where we've absolutely,
God.
where everybody got kicked in the guts. I mean, we
Yeah.
were looking before the pandemic. Let's just put this into perspective.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, before the pandemic, we had 15 teams without thinking every weekend, and then that happened, and everybody's world changed. Of course, we also left Brexit. That's a
But yeah.
anyway. So.
And we're back!
For the fourth time in like an hour.
This is going to be a great
no.
edit. Great edit.
As you were saying, post-COVID, you lost a lot of teams. It wasn't where it was.
It did what it was designed to do. It was meant to stop us from being free and stop us from. And
then Brexit happened. Anyway, but now obviously this
And remember, people, vote on July 4th.
But no, now
I don't know who you're going to vote for because I know you're going to get it.
I suspect my answer might be different. Let's move on. Oh God!
Will you stop kicking this table? The second time you've done that.
No, but as I say, this year we've had a couple of new teams come in, advanced. They've stayed, which is always useful.
Yeah, and it's good.
I think part of that is that they've seen the videos, which is what we are doing.
See the video, see the show, come.
So the thing is with the videos, of course. Last year we went and I made a big effort to make sure that we got better cameras.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that they could only film for half an hour on high def, but on 4K whatever. And they need to be upgraded. But that was it. But we also went for getting the fluid head camera stands. We also getting a computer that was a really decent editing machine.
I've now learned Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Because.
But you have to start somewhere.
You've actually learned it now.
Yeah.
There's no point investing too much to begin with. You need to do it.
That was enough. That was all I could invest.
I know. But if you look at going further, it's astronomically priced.
Oh no, absolutely.
And
this is the first stage, but the whole process of bringing these cameras in and bringing your roles in, and the importance of your roles, is to develop this program. The event coverage.
Yeah.
How can we make? The question is, how do we make what goes on in the arena, which is exciting, and for the people stood at the side of the ring, how do we make that as exciting and as entertaining and as interesting on a screen for people who aren't standing by the arena or don't know family members or don't, people are just like, oh, I'm a bit horsey or I'm a bit mountain boardy or I'm a bit skatey, and let's see what this is. How do we keep that interesting? And that's what these cameras are about.
I saw off the 2019 stuff that Joram did and more of the introductions, showing people that weren't horsey, weren't boarders, they were like, I'd watch this. I'd watch this sport, and we're getting there. And for what you guys do, we've started to realise that actually, you're the one that coined it, Dan. So you've realised it. Instead of we used to have like pre-briefs.
Yeah.
It's now a production meeting.
Yeah.
Because this is a production.
Yeah.
And it needs to be. But what I was kind of getting to was like how I'm going to ask you first. It's going to be easy for the camera edit. But how have both of you found it? But how have you found it taking on that extra role? Because there's a lot of responsibility we've thrown on you.
Yeah.
We're really grateful for everything you do.
I really enjoy it. That's because as we've said, it's trying to get it out there, right? I really enjoy doing this from what I found the past couple of years or whatever, and I see how much everybody that's involved in it for years previously just really likes coming and doing it. So the more people you can get to see it and get that, and then if it brings new teams in, it's great for us as a sport. But it's just sort of sharing that with a wider group of people that aren't close to one of the fairs that we do, Living Heritage or whatever. Sort of doing that.
Or don't come to Living Heritage fairs. Do you know what I mean? It's people that
that's it. No, there are people there that will watch the sport that would never come to a country fair, right? That's the thing. And with the Facebook stuff, it's or YouTube or wherever this is posted.
Spotify.
There's probably a list like this. But no, it's getting that sort of stuff. I really actually quite like being a part of making that accessible to people who wouldn't come to a rainy field in Tame.
Have you done the film that?
Yeah, I haven't yet, but sometime I'll meet someone who's interested that I know. I filmed that.
Mine's developed ever so slightly further now because I'm now helping with the editing.
Me sat on the sofa with Pip going, I filmed that. She's like, I know, Joe, I was there. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, I do the whole. Whole. Joe Brett's filmed it. I edited it though, and I put all this stuff on.
He's getting that though, and he's on Facebook. My dad said he saw an image of horseboarding on somewhere. I don't know if it was in a paper locally because he's local to here or whatnot. So people see it that don't come to it. And I just like doing that sort of stuff.
I'm going to put on this edit the amount of times you say yeah, no.
Yeah, I know. There are other things I say a lot, but it's no.
That's the one that stuck out. There's going to be a counter.
Beep, 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 beep.
Whenever I go skiing, I can't remember what it is. My friends always pick me up on that say the same thing.
Yeah, no.
It actually probably is that. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Get a bigger chair.
God, I can leave.
It's like this is a chair, and you make it look like a stool.
Yeah, no.
What about you, Joe?
Other Joe.
Original Joe.
Yeah, original Joe. That's fine.
So you, like you said, you'd seen this in 2013. You've then started volunteering for 2018. You then got on the cameras. And then now it comes to the point where you're integral to the sport before you start doing the editing bits, before we started saying, look, we'd really like this from you. How have you found that, and how's it been really?
Learning the program initially, not so great, but now I've had the practice on it. I know how to do it, and I can actually get them out quite quickly. So I think once I've got the right information that I need, like the split times, I actually need the final time, things like that, I can get through them quite quickly.
More so has it deepened your connection to the sport? Has it made you go, do you know what, I'm a part of this, I'm integral?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt a part of it, and it comes back to the whole, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is. If you join horseboarding, you are part of a family, so you're always connected to it. For me, I just enjoy winding my colleagues up a lot more because I literally sit there going, I edited this, I did this one. So they've got to the point where they're like, oh my god.
Are they like, do work, stop editing horseboarding?
I don't think you can answer that.
I would like to keep my job.
My boss says that to me all the time. Do work, stop doing horseboarding.
I would like to keep my job, so I'd like to say I do not do editing at work. I will not decline the fact that I have watched horseboarding at work.
Yeah.
I will quite regularly have previous rounds on. If we have a duty desk at work, which involves me sat on a desk all day, which is really boring. Horseboarding. And my boss has pretty much given up.
So, I think, tell us about, and so obviously Joe, you've been here for a long time, but what was your experience? So it's a bit different. What was your experience in when you joined the sport or the group, the community? How would you describe that?
I found it really welcoming as a group. I don't think anything's changed, but there was always the impression from some, I don't know where from, that there were cliquey groups in certain areas, and then we came in and that just was not the case. Right through from obviously when we were competing in the advanced teams, we were competing with all the elite teams. Everyone, whether you've got an issue with board setup or anything, has always given advice freely.
We quite often see you guys like either in the pits or in camp, and
That's it.
all sat around on one board.
It's like other extreme sports, as it were, that there is a competition, but as you said earlier, it's limited to the start and the finish line, right? Outside of that, everyone's willing to help, provide advice or whatever on anything. I know when we were racing, enjoyed that, but then just being a part of the group and the social side that comes with it is. Well, it's what I enjoy, why I keep coming back.
So you'd advise other people to get involved who are thinking about it?
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and
whether you want to ride, horse,
Ground crew.
ground crew, volunteer time to do anything.
Did you say if you want to ride or horse?
Yeah.
What do you do? I horse.
In case you can't tell, I'm not very horsey.
Yeah, I mean, that's bad.
In case you want to ride or horse or volunteer.
I think
Ride, board, or
I'd say
volunteer
no.
is what you want.
Come, that's it. No, there's no. I wouldn't have any reservations about saying anyone should come and get involved.
So I think
there are people that do like the fake show jumping when they're on.
Okay, maybe they're not invited, but everyone else is invited.
the thing is, there's where you mentioned there that you potentially heard that there are cliques within the group.
I don't know where that was from.
No. But I think there's a what you have to remember is that when I wouldn't say it was it was or it is a clique that's very exclusionary to people. What it is there's a group of people of the core crew, the people that have been involved for many years, who have been involved since 2011, who have travelled all over Europe, who have had experiences together that and have a bond together that simply other teams that come in that do a couple of seasons
and then leave.
Don't have. And it's and these people as well. And this is where the clique bit comes into.
Yeah.
These people at times when they're on shows want to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're excluding other people.
But they're 10-year friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that these people we've experienced things, whether that be trials and tribulations,
cabin fever,
exactly.
Across bridges in Holland,
or like where we've been pushed.
What's it, 4 hour Dover?
We have been pushed to extreme limits, and we came out of it, and it's a bit like there's that bond, and sometimes there's certain points I'm aware of it. There's certain points of the evening or weekends where that group would kind of gravitate to each other, and other groups would feel, but they'd gravitate to their own groups. But you end up. We used to have before the pandemic. There'd be like 50 people on site, and it's like not everybody's going to be around the same table. When you got 50 people on site.
Come into it. I mean, me and Pip aren't shy in that sort of situation. If you throw yourself into it, everybody is welcoming. Right? They're prepared. I mean, we sat around the table with all sorts of people the first weekend we came.
Sorry.
No, I know. That's it. But as you say, it's people do want to see their friends, but outside of that, it's
so.
There's something that I hear a lot, like from new teams and people coming into it, and they say to me, "Wow, horseboarding isn't like other equestrian sports."
Yeah.
And it's like,
no, we're not dicks.
And it's
that
like,
is the answer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I didn't say it, but not to say that other equestrian events are bad, but they're very.
Please come to your shows. We'd like to come to your international shows.
Yes, other horseboarding.
No, but you could also say, regardless of that, actually, what Tom was saying, you can also say that there are certain, and I've said this before, and I'll say certain attitudes in certain equestrian sports, and I believe it's because of this simple principle that within a lot of equestrian sports, a lot of the game is being judged. How pretty is my horse? How well do I ride my horse? How well have I presented my horse? All that sort of stuff is part of the game, which means it makes an environment in which it's
Yeah.
okay to judge everybody on what they're doing. Whereas our environment is, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it's hard not to, but
how quick can you get from there to there?
That's all I care about. And if you can't ride your horse quick from there to there, then maybe you need to go and have some more
And it
lessons.
doesn't matter about what breed you've got, where you got it from, the fact that it was bought off a knackers lorry.
I don't care if it turns up in a cattle lorry or, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care how quick can you go from there to there. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And that's all we care about as a group and as a community.
The greatest example of that is the Aylesford show last year. And we went to that, and of course the ground crew go up to the arena a lot earlier than what the horses do and everything, because we're there waiting to get in and we can get things set up and everything quite quickly. And the Aylesford show, it is a very prim and proper show, because the people that compete in there are competing to qualify for other events. And the crowd there were all very respectful of that, and it was very, sorry for the phrase, la-di-da.
Yeah.
Well,
the horseboarding went in and completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
And they absolutely loved it.
I was stood at the edge of the arena. I think I was doing a bit of filming. No, I was just ground crewing, and I was just stood there, and Blues and Twos did their first run, and they just sent it. And this guy that was behind me in the audience went, "What the fuck is this?" Like, I just watched it go.
Yeah.
Like, but his face was pure like, because we've done, and I actually agree with Anne Marie, because when she said this show does not know what they've booked.
No.
Before we went in. Like,
you can tell as you're walking through the showground. I remember I was walking with Ross. Ross was commentating, wasn't he, with me? And we were walking up, and I was like, I said the same thing to Ross. I was like, these guys do not know what's about to happen. And the thing is, when at Living Heritage, we've been doing this so long that there is an air. People do know what's going on, but there's just so many of these horsey people, like, which are like, what's this? What's going to happen? And then the music starts, and the racing starts, and it's all blood, sweat, and tears. And also as well, that particular show, we were knocking out 29s and 30 miles an hour, one after another.
Scared.
after you've had nice showing,
dressage,
everything, very lulled, very nice, very
proper,
very proper equestrian country show. We're all talking in this kind of manner,
and it was a lovely show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
And they asked us to go back this year. They wanted, but unfortunately, it clashes with Sandringham this year. It won't clash with Sandringham next year. They've asked us to go back. For
but I presume the crowd really enjoyed.
Well, it said in the paper.
They
stole the show.
Literally.
Exactly.
We know we've stolen shows, but it's in the press.
I've only ever said it. I personally have only ever said we stole the show once, and that was East Anglia with your race.
We have the badge to prove that.
Yeah. And that was the one I was like, we just stole the show, because from a
that was
to say that phrase.
JCB year, wasn't it?
Yeah, to say that phrase. People in circus or in shows, events, performance, all those sorts of things. That phrase is highly regarded and highly gilded. You cannot go around saying you stole the show.
Yeah.
Because to steal the show means something
special.
It's really fucking special. So on that particular day with that particular race, East Anglia, it was one in a million race. It was phenomenal.
You lost control of the crowd.
Yeah, we were chasing the crowd. Like that was one of the very few occasions where the crowd went like you went in the race. The crowd went. Me and Aidan were chasing the crowd, almost like, we're making them do this, honest sort of thing. Like, and they're just like a football crowd going,
and then you've got me on the camera just desperately trying to keep up.
but what made that moment, what you have to recognise is that, because I studied that afterwards, I do study the shows, and I go, what worked, what didn't work, why did that show go particularly well? The Carfest Heat 2, I think it was at Carfest.
Wasn't invited.
The phrase I uttered at the end of that show was "what a show." We didn't steal it, but it was what a show. It was one of the best shows you know, and I went back and I studied what was it that made that show so good. I watched the videos. And when I watched East Anglia, it was the fact that the arena had taken so many borders, because it was so broken up, it was so full of sand, and borders were crushing out one after another, and it was just like, oh my god, this is like impossible to get around. And the fact, I think you'd had 2 or 3 falls in the races leading up to your race, and then you came out like mentalists, absolutely flying, and I'd say mentalists, it was 24 miles an hour.
I remember, yeah, like which you know, on the speeds that we usually get isn't high, but ran that course it was. And I remember the conversation
and
with
Lloyd. The way the crowd, the way the arena had broken up, the crowd were like, well, these guys are clearly mental, so this is great, this is going to end in a massive crash.
Yeah.
And every corner you got round, the crowd was like, fuck, he made it!
Well, I remember the conversation with Lloyd in the pits, so he was like, right, what are we going to do? Do we just call it here? Like, literally, just get around.
Because you weren't going to win the weekend, TNT.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, no, let's go for gold. Like, we've got nothing to lose here.
It was your last race of the
it was
weekend.
the last
race of the weekend, which also makes it big.
Yeah.
And it was, and he was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I need you to ride the middle line. And he's like, why? And I was like, because I'm going to ride as far outside as I can, which, when you're doing that on that kind of course, you're getting pendulum, you're getting thrown around. And I said, go to the middle of the arena, stop, and we're gonna wind the crowd up.
Yeah.
Just stand still for a minute, and I'm gonna give the crowd some stuff. I'm gonna set myself up.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go. We're gonna tell them that we're doing it. Even though, because it was 3 borders had gone down.
Yeah.
And I was like, even though that's happened, we're now coming out to race.
I mean, from the audience's perspective, you've just seen these borders crash out. Oh, jeez. And the next one, like lemmings, just jumping off the cliff, one after another, just like, well, that didn't work. The next guy thinks he's going to do it. Boom, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And it's spectacularly entertaining, and, you know, fair dues to them. And then you're like, okay, and you did, you came and you stood in the ring. And one of the things I would like to credit Lloyd with as well, I've watched, having studied other videos of your races when you guys were racing together, is that he would listen to the music as Anne-Marie was bringing the music in. He would listen to the music and start the race as the music kicked in. So, and it was a beautiful bit of unchoreographed showmanship and teamwork.
One thing he didn't bloody well do though is listen to me when I'm going no, as he's taking a call halfway across the diagonal of that race. I was shouting at him, going, steady, and he came into that chicane, into the chicane, and as he came in, I just went, fuck it, and just threw myself down.
Yeah.
And on the part of the video, I can hear Amy go, Jesus Christ! If you've got Amy Richards saying, Jesus Christ,
who's just won the weekend.
It's quick, and that is probably one of the single best board slides and moments where I've gone, my brain went, we can't do it at this pace, and then he just didn't slow down, and my brain kicked into, and we've spoken about like if you think you're going to fall, you fall and all that, and my brain just kicked into just do it. Like it didn't, I pictured the end of the chicane. I hadn't even into that corner, I don't remember it, I just remembered the end and go, that's where I'm going to be, and we got through it and I was like, oh, I'm through. Great.
It's racing in anger.
But yeah, it was racing in anger, and it was great. But
coming
anyway,
back to Alresford.
Coming back to Alresford. What are we talking about? I like talking about me.
We're not talking about me anymore.
But
talking about Alresford and the reaction. So at East Anglia, I came out of there and I was blown away because I was like, we just stole the show.
Yeah.
And that, it can't be underestimated, that statement. I have never said, I've experienced it a few times in my life of doing thousands of shows, you know, different performances, whether it's trick riding or jousting or whatever. And it's like years ago when we used to be jousting for certain shows or whatever, and the joust wouldn't go well, or the show wouldn't go well, and it'd be
we weren't allowed to the beer. You told us if we didn't do a good show, we weren't allowed to beer.
exactly.
So we always did
you
good
got to
shows.
walk into the beer tent with your head held high. If you've done a bad show, then you don't deserve to go to the beer tent. It's simple as that. And I love the beer tent, so my shows are always good. But you know, the point is that so to steal the show, and then at Alresford we did that event. The crowd, I mean, people described it as a Mexican wave going around the arena.
They loved it.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I remember I was dropping my jokes that I say, and
Full horsey crowd, and they loved it.
yeah, and they were just like, these horses are just like your horses at home. The louder you scream, the faster they go, sort of thing. And all that sort
Biggest
of
laugh
stuff.
he's ever got. He keeps using the joke, and he's like,
Never had a reaction to that. He's never had a reaction
No,
to that.
joke, that's hilarious if you're a horse rider, because every horse rider has been on a horse and been like, ah, and it hasn't helped. Anyway, but then to have it in the paper. I actually didn't really come out of that show thinking we stole it. I thought we did a really good show.
I think they appreciate. I came away thinking that was a really good show. I admit I came away being thankful that I got away with my life, considering where I stood in the arena.
Don't
But
do that.
just-
You're gonna spill the rest.
Just the
on you or
reaction,
something.
just the reaction of the crowd. Like, cause it was only a one-day event, so we were only in the arena twice, and just there were people that I saw that went to the arena in the morning, and once the camera was shut down and everything, and I was walking back up, they were asking me, when are you guys back in? And because they were just so enthralled about what they were seeing.
I mean, and it was a good show. It was a good arena. The speeds were amazing.
Me and George were walking around as a horseboarding t-shirt on, that polo, and like I was trying to find a new lead for my dog. That was my aim. I need a lead for my dog, and I'm on an event that sells them. And trying to get from our camp to there, we got stopped 5 times. People talking about going, I saw you guys in the arena, that was amazing. And also, I matched with many people on Tinder that said they'd seen it. At the time, I was very single.
I'm going to delete that app off your phone.
No.
Anyway, so guys, you've had a great. You are enjoying your filming. You're enjoying the editing. You're enjoying the community.
Yeah.
Who is? I'm going to cut you up there. Out of the two of you, both of you, who are your favourite teams in the elite and the advanced?
That's mean.
Or just favourite team overall, but I think it's out of, what do you guys think this weekend's going to show us?
I think not TNT, just Wing It. I think are going to be a team to watch. Not that I'm saying anything negative towards Emma, because she is, as we said, a fantastic rider.
No,
but she hasn't.
You don't have to say anything negative against anybody.
She hasn't ridden
competed
Sally
a while,
and Indy in a long time, whereas Annette has been working really hard to bring Harry up.
And
it
in
was so
fairness,
close.
as far as Amy's concerned, I imagine the fact that horses are here and running, is
a miracle
keeps the points coming in, ticking over, even if the other teams are going to jump on top of them now.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Blues and Twos and Top and Tails come third and fourth in the elites, and you end up with a just drag, just wing it, or just wing it, just drag combination. I mean, at the front, I think everybody's going to have to be careful about this ground, and I think we're going to end up putting in a track warning, course warning up straight away. I think we'll do it before the racing starts.
Cautiously not worried.
Yes, but that's because of your
but I mean, I don't know. I'm just. You walk across that arena, it feels like it's trying to.
I think, in fairness, everyone. I think all the teams that were at least here before we came up here have been out into the arena and have seen it, so they are very acutely aware of what it is like. I think just Wing It are going to use the opportunity for the other two teams, normal riding, not being here, to really go for it.
Sorry, Amy.
Amy, I love you and it's nothing against you. Same Emma. I think they're going to take the opportunity to try.
And they should do, because it's a competition.
Exactly.
But you want to be careful, because you light that fire and Emma and she's going to come out. That fire will kick in like, okay, here we go.
And as I say, there's nothing negative about it.
And if TNT win, sorry, Annette.
Yeah. I think in the advance, I think happy little accidents.
Yeah.
We need to keep a close eye on because, especially in the last event at Burley,
Them and Pull a Fast One are going to be because
they've stepped up their game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Them and Pull a Fast One very close. Pull a Fast One getting the edge. However, I mean, I don't know. I can't remember Tom Gent ever riding on a course like this.
And I think
Oren definitely hasn't.
This is going to test.
This course could.
Yeah.
It's
going to test all the advances.
Yeah.
I don't think they.
The ground could test Splash as well because he had a little bit. He was a little bit.
He was getting tired early as
Not unsound, but he was just a little bit off. And the ground could also. The ground is probably going to test the horses. Because it's longer grass, which means the borders are heavier. There's bumps all the way through it, which means they get these sudden shocks down the road.
Which is not what they used to.
Which it isn't for those of you the people that are watching this, listening to this, that don't horseboard. Those sudden shocks are absorbed by the body. So although the board might be going dug 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 dug, that's absorbed through the body, and what you're actually coming down the handle isn't the same feeling. So because there's a lot of but that doesn't mean that there aren't points where the board rider's going to hit the end of the handle.
I think we're going to get a lot of force.
To get into it, the biomechanics of what's happening here is when you're sitting back, so we talk about translating the power, great on smooth ground. When you've got this jitteriness of the board, what happens is that comes through, if you can hear that, it's my dog dreaming in the background. It comes up through the leg, and then you feel it, and it actually shocks your shoulder. So your shoulder gets tired really quick because you're literally absorbing all that up. So your legs get tired, but then the shoulder gets tired a lot quicker. The second your shoulder's tired, that's when the forearm starts to really take the pressure. And the second that your forearm gets tired, you can't grip. So that
because you're carrying your whole body weight on your forearm.
On your forearm. So that's why, like when I'm
and that body weight is being
why I talk to board riders. You know, like Oren mentioned it on the last one where I was saying like bring the rope in, use your strength, lock the shoulder, and it pulls from here, and wherever the rope is, it gives you the pull because you're engaging the shoulder. The second that goes, this then becomes your main point of access. And forearms are good, but they're not meant to be the main point of weight bearing. They're just not meant for it. They're there for your grip strength and everything else.
And it is for people that haven't done this, or if you've ever been to the gym and stood and tried to do a squat on a power plate.
Have you ever been to the gym?
I have. Have you ever stood on a power plate?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They're horrible.
And what does it do? Does it shake your legs until you?
It just shakes your entire body and you can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what riding a board on this ground is like.
Yeah. I apologise for my previous one.
I think something to play in Send It Siblings' favour though is that Josh did board at Cheshire last year when it was atrocious ground at Cheshire
So he's got experience.
He crashed a lot.
He crashed a lot, but he's
it was
boarded.
softer.
And he's done a lot better.
Yeah.
I think all the boarders are going to have to be careful because if you land funny, if you crash, because you can end up with a situation where the board stops dead. I've looked at some of the lumps in there, they're really hard, and you could end up literally with the trucks digging into a lump and being tipped over the front. That could cause you to hit. You're going to hit. That's a heavy fall. The ground is really hard. If you then put your hand down on a rut.
Well, that's lesson number one.
Which isn't, but if but it's different to putting the hand down on the flat.
Yeah.
That rut could just twist your wrist.
Now I've thought about this about trying to sliding toe side slides that I want to drag my fingers across and not put weight bearing and use the. And I've done it at previous events. So Ryan has done it as well. You can see some great videos where he does it, and he's full slide, and he's dragging his fingers because that's when we were burning our hands because the ground was so dry, and you didn't want to put your whole hand down because you were literally burning the gloves out. But you use your fingers as your counterpoint of balance, so you know where you are, but you're not weight bearing.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird.
Yeah,
thing
just
to
touching
say.
it, yeah.
Yeah, just touching it so you can get round. That's kind of where I want to be this weekend. I think.
It seems your board will slide.
Yeah, probably will. It probably will. Those tyres. Those tyres are going to be like 100 psi. Like, there's nothing. They're going to go around there, and it's going to be solid.
What do you think Sean's tyres are going to be like on this? Because if you put them up real hard,
you know what? I would probably get the other way with his because they got so much grip anyway. I'd probably take his to 25, 30
I'd be
psi.
thinking about getting the 9s out.
Nah, like cause they're gonna roll, and I would let a bit of air out, like give it 20, 30, and let that tyre do the work
just
over
accept
those
you're
ruts.
gonna have the grip.
And do the work over it. He's still gonna feel the ruts, but if he takes that bit of air out, the tyre's gonna go through those ruts. Whereas the 9s, they have to be as hard as you can to get over it all. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck in everything. Anyway, we've got Joe's favourite teams. What about you, Joe?
Just a sucker for all the gear, no idea.
Yeah.
That's
can't not love them.
Yeah, I think they come here, they sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Embody everything that it's about, right? They come here, they know they're probably not going to win, but they come here, have a great time.
Admit they're not going to win.
That's it. Happy to lend that horse out to anybody who needs a horse to complete a run in anything. And I just want to see the Who's get round a couple of times in a row.
Your prediction of the weekend is everyone else is going to fall, and
that'd be great.
Going to win.
Everybody fall off. I think, as we've said, I think Senate Siblings and Josh will probably do well potentially with the experience. But I'm just looking forward to seeing it getting around a couple of times in a row. So he had a bad spell a couple of events ago, where for whatever reason he just seemed to not be able to complete a run. It gets in your head. I think
it does.
At the end of the last event, he made it back a bit. I think I'd just like to see a couple more of those.
And then
I think he was overridingly just more happy with Kia because, of course, she went out to TNT and just how she performed. I mean, we've been messaging him privately.
That's
He's
it.
just so proud of her. That she completed the week.
The horse did amazingly. And I think they've been working on fitness and stuff as well.
I think just the fact she completed it was her second time trying the weave and she completed it. And when I did the edit, I had my earphones out here.
And then on the elite front, where's your prediction?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
It's going to be close, isn't it?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be closer than usual. I think either TNT or Blues and Twos will probably still take it. Don't know which one, but I'd be very interested to see whether not that there was a large gap anyway, looking at the last week, but whether that gap closes up with Amy not riding. I'd be interested to see how much of that is rider versus horse and board. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, as well, there's a pressure on Emma as well.
That's it.
To look after the team and get the team from the start line to the finish line. It's not necessarily
ultimately finishing. Is what is required.
That's the aim.
That's it. But going beyond that, I'm very interested to see how the team dynamics change with the different horse rider.
I will be quiet and just hold on.
You're just going to hold on and go with whatever happens.
Hold on.
That's but no, I think it'd be interesting to see how that changes.
I think physically, if you're going to weigh up TNT and Blues and Twos, I think physically Ryan, his calves have definitely.
He's physically more prepared for. He's got that bulk, that he can absorb the vibrations. Probably better than anybody else.
I've got to do a lot of board tweaking to then match it, and I don't know. Like the last event, my calves were in shit state.
That's because you're doing for two teams.
No, because I went and did a leg day in the gym.
Did you do that this week?
No. I did that
Did you learn the lesson?
Yeah, I did it on Monday.
Good.
But I think physically, if nothing changes between the teams, I think Ryan's definitely got the edge over me. But then it's just who Emma's more confident riding, because I think Indy is she gets it, she knows it. You can wing around a course, got to be
Emma's
aware
also-
again of the course and the ground and how hard it is. But then I think Sally is a bit more of a fine-tuned Ferrari or Porsche. Like, she is that kind of level, but I've not seen another rider on it.
No, this is exactly it. I think
And Emma has ridden Indy before in competition.
So on that bombshell from the dog.
It's a great dream.
dog's calling time. That's it's.
It's a great dream.
Scooby!
No.
He's not listening to me anyway.
On that bombshell, I think we'll call that, guys. Thank you very much, Joe, Team
Thank
Joe.
you, that's
Your first podcast. We'll see you again. And
Yeah. See ya.
Look out for more from Horseboarding.